Guys, welcome to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. I'm your host Andy, and in this video we're talking about the deal surrounding Savinho to Spurs. Is it progressing? You'll find out in probably about 20 seconds. We're also going to be talking about Real Madrid's interest in a fullback this summer, especially a right back. Obviously with Danny Carvajal moving on, Pedro Porro being one of those players being considered. So let's jump in and talk about it. I will apologise now. I'm actually packing to go on holiday, so if you see some clothes, mind your business, all right? But let's talk Savinho. So, Fabrizio Romano, this came out just after midnight in the UK. And he says negotiations are ongoing for Savinho to Tottenham as revealed 2 weeks ago. And progressing well. Spurs believe Savinho wants to move. Talks continue as Man City could open the doors to his exit in case of a good proposal. The deal is on. Now, obviously, I didn't talk about it yesterday, but I did see the links with Rafa Leao. There's been links with Somerville as well. There's been links with a few wingers. It feels like Savinho is one of the players at the top of that list, though. And just sort of stepping away from, do I want the player, do I not want the player, just for a second. A lot of clubs obviously want to bring in players who ideally had Premier League experience, right? Just ideally. But if they're also younger with that experience, that's what they want, right? Because then they know, he knows the league, he knows what it's all about, and he'll be around for a good few years. So we're going to so even if it is a £60 million deal, we'll make that money back easily because we could have him here for 7 or 8 years, So, yeah, the fact that it's progressing is very interesting. This would feel... I know there's chatter around them wanting to bring in a top midfielder, but I don't know. It just feels like this one would be the marquee sign. We always talk about marquee signs, don't we, at Spurs? Like Spurs will have one marquee signing, a sort of a summer, and this would feel like it. But then again, we tried to sign Morgan Gibbs-White last year as well, which supposedly Spurs are active and want him. Will that lead to anything? I don't know, but Spurs are active. Yeah, let's talk about Pedro Porro. So, obviously, look, Danny Carvajal has left Real Madrid, right? We all know that. They have Trent there, and that's really all they've got for fullback, unless they're going to play Asensio there. But for Fabrizio Romano, a little double down, little double dipper. Real Madrid plan to sign a right back this summer with Denzel Dumfries and Pedro Porro among options being considered. Obviously, it would make a ton of sense on the Pedro Porro front that, yes, that's a player that they would like. Again, with Mourinho coming in, what is he demanding of his fullbacks? What, 2 years ago? 2 years ago, Pedro Porro and Trent were probably the two most creative right backs in the league. I'm not going to talk about fullbacks as a whole, but just on right backs. So, you're going to have two very creative right backs. Porro is a much better defender, but he's not a brilliant defender. And I love Pedro Porro. I'd be gutted if he left in a way, because I know a few of you aren't as keen, but my attitude is we have so many other bigger fish to fry in this squad before we need to start getting rid of players who are, one, able to stay fit, two, have some use. So whether if you think that's, he can cross a ball, right? We have players in this squad that offer us next to nothing, that need to be moved on. So on Porro and Real Madrid, look, he's a Spanish guy. It would make a ton of sense in that regard. I'd love to know what the fee looks like. That's the other thing. I've always said, what's the fee going to look like? Because if Spurs have spent, call it 40 million, right? Just call it 40 million. I know it was a little bit more, but we're going to call it 40 million. Then the base offer, regardless of, add-ons and sell-ons and all that stuff, is 50 million. That's the way I'm going to look at it, because at the end of the day, he has shown, at least even people that don't like Porro, flashes of really good play. And yes, it probably doesn't help. And it doesn't help a lot of our players, by the way, when every time that, even though they're fit, they look at the team sheet and go, Christ, yeah, I haven't played with that guy in 2 months. I haven't played with that guy in 4 weeks. And, oh, I'm going to have to play them week in, week out for a bit. Right, brilliant. Cool. Glad we got all those injuries then. So look, we'll see on Pedro Porro. We'll see on Savinho. It does kind of feel like Spurs are trying to get quite a bit of business done well before we need to worry about it. But we shall see. Anyway, thanks very much for joining, guys. I've got to pack and get out of here. And I'll speak to you all very soon. Take care and peace.